no secret that 2024 has not been kind to the luxury brands. A lot of them are struggling. Some of them are even putting prices down, trying to tempt us back in. A lot of them experiencing slow growth, reduction in profits, all of that doom and gloom. At the same time, we're hearing very non-luxurious stories in the world of luxury fashion. You've got something like what's happening at Dior with the factory that's affiliated with them, that's not been under fantastic working conditions. There's queuing outside stores. There's loads of stories about bad quality, bad customer experiences. So what is still luxury in 2024? What still feels luxurious? What still feels special? And that's what we're going to be diving into. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. So now is around the time that the brands have all reported their finances. They're airing their dirty laundry. And really the long and short of it is that the majority of brands, bar a handful that we're going to get to, there's been big profit drops. There also is like this sort of transition period where a lot of brands don't have a creative director's moving around, nobody seems to have an identity, blah, blah, blah. But that, like I said, there are a handful of brands that are doing very, very well. Two brands that I want to highlight in particular are Hermès and Miu Miu. Just to give you an idea here, Miu Miu sales are up 93% since January of this year. That's huge. It's basically carrying the Prada group. Prada's been doing okay, but Miu Miu is really carrying the Prada group on their back, right? Hermès grew 13% in Q2 alone, which is ahead of like expectations and all of that. Why are these brands in particular doing well? What about them still feels luxurious, especially in a time when we're not spending as freely as we once were? You've got this pool of money that you might spend on designer things, and instead of there being a list of 25 brands that you might be like, oh, if that's quite cute, you know, I don't really feel much loyalty to the brand, but it's cute, let me spend on it. That money is being redirected into the brands that people are really focusing on. The ones that, for whatever reason, they value the most. Hermès is unsurprising because Hermès is speaking that luxury language extremely fluently. Everything about it feels elevated and luxurious, from the customer service, the aftercare service. I talk about this a lot, but I do think it is one of the best, if not the best, luxury brand for standing by their products and making sure that you can love them for years and years and really generations, right? The craftsmanship. Nobody's coming on here going, you know, my Birkin was shoddily made, all right, my Her bag was falling to pieces after one wear. On top of that, though, a very large part of Hermès is its exclusivity, and that in itself is luxurious. It carries a lot of weight, and we can talk about the Hermès bag game till the cows come home, but it still manages to, for a number of reasons, maintain this sort of like luxury. We're going to be using the word luxury and luxuriousness, okay, throughout this video a lot. Do not drink, take a sip of water, okay, stay hydrated every time I say the word luxury or luxurious. Business of Fashion recently came out with an article over the weekend about this topic, and one of the things that it sort of focused on was VICs, very important clients, and high net worth individuals, HNWIs, and how they are spending their money. So to sort of put this into context, these are people spending upwards of an average of €350,000 a year, right? About $380,000. Whereas you would maybe think that, well, they've got all of this disposable income, then they'll still be buying willy-nilly. That's not the case, because now their expectations of what feels special is also a lot higher than it used to be. Going on to Miu Miu, Business of Fashion sort of attributes how well it's doing to the creativity of the brand. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm a Miu Miu girl. I'm not really, but I see some pieces and I'm like, yeah, that's cute, I like that. Of course, I love a little tank top that's got Miu Miu and little crystal green things. Like, yeah, it's cute, okay? I can see that. But like, I'm not a big Miu Miu purchaser. But that's sort of what people love about the brand, is the sort of wearability, the creativity of it. If you look at, I mean, they're sort of one of the big trendsetters in terms of luxury trends and all that. Bag charms, absolutely massive. What was that? Out of the brands doing it the most, it's really Miu Miu that's carrying it. The tiny micro shorts and all of that that's happening, that's Miu Miu. Whether it's your vibe or not, people are really loving it. A brand that wasn't really mentioned in any of this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're also doing very well, is Loewe. LVMH don't really split out their brands and how well each particular brand is doing, but I would not be surprised if some of the brands weren't doing well and Loewe is sort of helping them push them up a bit, because again, that's a brand that has the creativity, you see the fun, you see the novelty in it, but it also has the quality to back it up. Go into a Loewe shop, touch the leather, and you'll be like, oh, I want to spread that on toast, it's so buttery. Okay, that's something that I wouldn't be surprised about. But those are brands that, to a lot of people, considering the financial results, whatever, are still carrying that level of special, that level of something magical that's worth it to part with your money for. Let's talk about craftsmanship and quality. This is a big reason why we can justify spending big, extortionate amounts of money on luxury things, because it's beautifully made. It's going to stand the test of time, right? Now, whereas we were maybe spending a little bit more willy-nilly and not as discerning and not as sort of picky during lockdown, when all of a sudden, money wasn't going on holidays or eating out or whatever else, that has completely changed. So now we're looking closely. Now, okay, you've got to be worth it. You've got to make sure that you can get your cost per wear out of it. You've got to make sure it's going to keep up with you and you can get the use out of it so that you can justify that amount of money. Quality and craftsmanship isn't completely dead. I think that when we talk a lot about luxury online and all of this, there's sort of this overarching sort of like doom and gloom, it's all gone to the dogs sort of mentality about it, and there are still a lot of the big brands that have exceptional quality, but there are also loads of smaller, more independent brands that are really competing in terms of quality. But this also means things that are maybe bespoke, made to order, custom. There's more of an attention to detail because this is a one-of-one piece. Examples of this could be Prada does made to order Galleria bags, okay, and you can pick aspects of it. Fendi does made to order baguettes, and again, you can pick the aspects of that, and you know that the quality and the craftsmanship is going to be exceptional because this is just the one. Those are obviously options that come with a very high price point. I mean, that's sort of where all of this came from, right? It was couture, it was one of one, and then everything, sort of got mass market and then production and blah, 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 and we're trying to retract from the doom and gloom, Cassie. The next one, the luxury experience. I'm very passionate about the luxury experience, and this is both in-store and online. In-store, it's walking in to a friendly essay. It's not being sort of pressured to buy something. It's being given the space for you to feel comfortable, to try things on, ask questions if you want to, and not be made to feel intimidated. It's being offered a beverage. It's having a beautiful packaging experience, having a smooth checkout experience. It's about a beautiful store. End to end, it has to give. And when that's online, it's about a beautiful user experience, smooth checkout, quick shipping, right? Free sodding delivery. I'm spending a lot of money on this bag. Why are you charging me for delivery? You shouldn't be. It's about a beautiful at-home packaging experience, right? And that can be eco-conscious. That doesn't have to be some crazy bells and whistles and, sodding confetti pops out at you and congratulations on your bag, right? There's ways to do it. It's about great customer service. It's about smooth returns process if need be. And I still think that some brands are much better than others at creating this experience. It's a feeling, right? Luxury is also about how it makes you feel. I think that's a big thing about it, for me specifically. And the experience is half of it. The product and what you're buying at the end is one part, but the experience as a whole really can make a difference. Now, something else that I think people are turning to is the world of vintage. We are seeing more and more interest in vintage designer fashion, not only for the craftsmanship side of things, which is just sort of universally acknowledged that stuff that was made before is of higher quality than a lot of the things that we have now, right? And yeah, we know Chanel 24 karat gold plating, now it's gold toned hardware, blah, 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 as an example. So for craftsmanship wise, I know there's some people that's a really big reason why they shop vintage, but the rarity and the exclusivity aspect of it also is a decent part of it, I think, now more than ever. And look, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be like a vintage expert. I am by no means. I will say I've started my vintage journey maybe 18 months ago with my first purchase, and it's something that I definitely now feel more comfortable with exploring because of the authenticity guarantee of a lot of big online marketplaces, retailers, whatever, be that fashion file, what goes around comes around, eBay's authenticity guarantee and all of that, right? I now feel more comfortable shopping vintage, and I know a lot of other people feel that way, but there are certain sort of vintage pieces that carry a lot of clout. And there's like a flex that comes with it. There are, you know, certain creative directors' collections, certain collections in general, that hold a lot of most of the time it tends to be like cultural weight that really make something so massively just like coveted and you're in awe of it and all of that business. And also the exclusivity of vintage, right? There's only a sort of finite pool of these items. There's only some of them floating around in the ether to be bought. Some people are holding on to it because they know what they've got and they're not going to get rid of it, sort of thing. But off the top of my head, Carrie's newspaper John Galliano for Dior dress, right? I mean, that dress is so sort of widely loved, acknowledged at the very least. And if you go online now, I think the cheapest that I saw it, it's not even available anymore. The cheapest I saw it was on Forward, and that was like a variation of it, for $35,000. There is the one that was actually worn in the Sex and the City 2 film on First Dibs for $245,000. That's been there for a while. But I mean, that also has a lot of sort of weight because it's still got the sort of like Sex and the City return tags on it and everything else, right? So that one's a little bit, but as an example though, there are certain like vintage pieces that have this sort of clout. And once again, it's the rarity, it's the exclusivity. It's similar to Hermes, right? And what they're doing that makes it feel special. I felt like I also needed to include this point because although they don't announce financials or whatever, it is once again no secret that The Row by Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen is widely successful, and part of it is its mystery. So I'm also sort of putting mystery into a reason why things feel luxurious, because everything now I think is very, or has the potential to be overexposed, right? You can go on social media, on any platform, and see so much of everything all of the time. Social media is just going to make everything feel a lot smaller and a lot more concentrated. And in a world like that, mystery and the sort of allure of not knowing also now feels luxurious, and that's what The Row does very well. I would say in the last sort of 12 months in general, they've had 3 products go sort of viral / sell out, which I'm sure actually the Olsens aren't particularly happy about because that's sort of the antithesis of their brand. But you've got the Margot bag that nobody would stop talking about. You've got the Mara jelly shoes, which is probably the most sort of exciting of all of these designs. And then you have their like clear flip-flops that all of a sudden like is a thing and they're sold out and all the celebrities are wearing them, and all it is a black leather flip-flop with clear thongies. I'm not a target audience, and that's fine. I think it's the mystery, it's the fact that there's no logo, and we can tie it all into like a bigger quiet luxury, whatever it is, conversation, but that's not for today. That I then think feels luxury to some people, to the Row sort of customers. Now, one category of luxury that I think is most easily justifiable in terms of value and quality and longevity is fine jewellery. This is one thing that, again, in times where we are being a little bit more choosy and picky on who's getting our money and what's getting our money, I don't know if it's something that we just sort of like know, or just because of like societally, you know, like engagement rings, blah, 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 all of this, we know that this carries some sort of inherent value, whether actually, financially, or just in terms of like sentimentality or whatever it is, that there's less of a justification sort of needed here. You're like, I get it. It's gold, silver, it's platinum, it's diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, whatever else under the sun. So whilst these tend to be bigger purchases than a pair of designer shoes, a designer belt, sunglasses, whatever it is, we know that the cost per wear is low because it's something that you're either going to wear most days or every day, and simply due to the materials, the quality's there. You know that you're not going to just like wear this thing that's going to sort of disintegrate on your finger if it's fine jewellery. Fine jewellery has always felt luxurious and special, and again, if we tie it to milestones or something very sentimental, then that carries a weight as well, right? But I think that we're seeing more people sort of like shift towards fine jewellery to spend their money. So that's sort of where I think we're at with what feels luxury in 2024. Let me know if I've missed anything off the list. And obviously, I'm just talking about luxury fashion. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.